Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, my haunted journal edition. If you're new to the channel, this is just where I go and kind of spitball and they report any supernatural things I've experienced maybe throughout the week, as well as like reminiscing on any issue things that I'm thinking about. Just kind of like a place for me to like just talk what's on my mind, but mostly focusing on supernatural. And also updates on the channel. Um, so yeah, it's just a kind of a journal that's again focusing more on supernatural side of my life and a little mix of everything else that's going on with me. So with that said, I did have some stuff I want to talk about with the channel. I'm working on I guess, an investigative video that's going to come out by the end of this weekend or early next week. I finished recording it and I just have to get to editing. I do have issues. I used obviously Chat GPT to make a lot of the images, which I love Chat GPT, but they sometimes they don't always get the images right. So just working on that and trying to structure that out. And again, I should have that by the end of the weekend or early next week. But other than that, just been doing a lot of human stuff that's been keeping me busy. But um yeah, I guess I had an incident this week, which I'm going to talk about later on, but not right now. But it reminded me of another incident. But again, like I will explain that incident probably maybe like a month or so from now. I just don't really want to talk about it right now, just because of personal reasons. Um, but it reminded me of something that happened a while back, and this was before an influx of paranormal activity that occurred in my life. So I've said this so many times, but um just as if you haven't heard, I had a few years back an influx of major paranormal activity, and since then it's like trickled down, but I still get experiences and kind of still going on my own spiritual journey since then. um But and sorry, I'm a little low energy. It's early in the morning for me. Usually I film these later in the day, but I just wanted this was just on my mind and I just wanted to get it out. So that is what I'm doing. Um so a while back, this is going to be more about a glitch, and I'm not an expert in glitches. I've experienced a lot of them, but they're not something I like gravitate and really want to learn more about, which might sound weird for my channel, but it's just something like timelines and things like that are stuff that make me not nervous, but overwhelm me, I guess is the right word, because timing and things like that, as humans and as someone that maybe has an anxious personality, and you know I don't know, like glitches for some reason, I just there's just never been like, if you're talking about the universe, learning about the universe as like a school or like a business where you have like different departments, it's like it's never like a department I really want to like learn more about. But I've definitely experienced a lot of glitches, just some stuff that's like been like, okay, no, I swear I did this. I know I talked about one with a printer um in a haunted journal series. Like I've experienced a lot of them. I mean, a fair amount, but not. It's just not something I'm like. I'm more interested in like more learning about the spiritual side, in the sense of like spirits, like ghosts or things like that, than that type of stuff. Right? It's just something that I don't know. It's just not something I gravitate towards. But hang on, let me get a little bit of energy drink because I need something. Okay, sorry. But yeah, so again, I don't even know if this is necessarily a glitch, but it's definitely something like what recently happened. I definitely had something similar happen, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. So again, I don't know if necessarily a glitch, but it was something weird that reminds me of a glitch, I guess is the right category to put it in. But a few years back, before I really started getting into the supernatural, I was I started going to the gym at my apartment complex at that time. And when I went there, there was like a pool area, and then you'd go into another room, and then there would be a workout area, and then on the other side they had kind of like the office. If you open another door, there would be like the office and like things like that for people to use. Well, um sorry, I'm just thinking about stuff. That was a weird time because that's when all this crazy stuff happened. So, um, well, I was in the gym and I was like hearing like noises or whatever. And I can't remember all the specific details, but like I thought I saw a couple, but I didn't really see where they went when I went into the gym. And the gym was small, it wasn't like a huge gym, it wasn't like super fancy, it was just like a normal clubhouse gym. And I saw this couple, and I think I saw them for like a glance, like doing something. And I started my workout, and they were like behind me. So I couldn't see them. Like I was working out towards the front, and I knew like some people were behind me. And I just was like doing my workout. And then I like heard something, and I turned around, and I swear the same couple like came from a part of the building that didn't exist. And I know that sounds weird, and I can't it's I'm kind of a visual person, so it's hard to describe just in words for me. But it was just like I was working out, and then like I kind of saw the the couple come, and in my mind my first thought was like, oh my god, they were doing something like in that room, in a room that they came out of. And they were like, because the girl kind of looked embarrassed. I was like, oh shit, because it was kind of late at night, and I was like, maybe I don't know. And I'm not a very good visual person in this. Well, I'm good. Whatever. I'm not very good with directions. I'm not very good with layouts. I'm not very good with I don't know. Like I'm not very good at like I directions and like where layouts are and things like that. My brain just doesn't work that way, right? So I saw them coming out what I thought was a room, right? And in my mind, I was like, oh, was that like the hot tub area? I don't know why I thought that, because if you looked at the layout, it would make no sense. The hot tub would be coming from that direction because it was behind me from a wall where I was working out. But I was like, or maybe they were doing something in an office. Like that was my thought, because the girl looked super embarrassed. And I was like, shit, I kind of like, interrupted their time, even though, and that's how I think. I'm like, instead of being like, hey, this is not the place to do things like that. Like, my thought was like, oh, I interrupted their time. Like, which looking back is stupid. And my boyfriend shaking his head at me, but that was like my thought, right? And so I was like, think. So that's what I was thinking about. And then they left, and the boyfriend kind of like rushed her out. And she looked embarrassed. And then I looked where they came from, and the way it was situated was the wall was kind of like deepened in that area, but there was no door. There was nothing they came out of. Because in my mind, I was like thinking, because let's be real, I didn't go to the gym a lot, but in my mind, I was like, oh, then maybe that was like the door to like leading to the hot tub, and they were doing it in the hot tub or whatever. But they were not, because there was no door where they came out of. There was nowhere to come out of. Like I don't know how. It's like they just appeared. And I had another situation like that, um, in a movie theater. I was going to the movies with my boyfriend, and this is when I was kind of like in the midst of everything going on supernatural wise. Me and my boyfriend, we were like laying down, like because the theater was empty. We was like 11ish, like it was like a matinee, and we really wanted to see this movie, and we don't get out much, so this was like a big deal for us. And we were laying down, and kind of, because again, not a lot of theater, so we were just like using like two or three things to like cuddle or whatever. And these girls like came up, and they were sitting at the top of the theater, and like in the middle of it they started being loud. And usually I'm like not someone to be like, okay, like be quiet, da da da, but they were being extra annoying, like they wanted me to say something. So eventually my boyfriend and I were like, hush, right? And they came down, and I swear to goodness, they walked by, and then like I like turn around a second to like look at my boyfriend or whatever while they were walking by where I was sitting, because I was kind of like towards the bottom of the theater. They had to like walk by me in order to get out. The girls, like literally, I like kind of look at my boyfriend, and I look back, and then the girls just disappear there. And there's no way, unless they like ran like the like a trillion billion speed, there was just no way they could have left in the blink of an eye. And so what I experienced this past week was something similar like that, but just with the details I don't really want to share right now. But it's just like people kind of like vanishing and coming back in like where they shouldn't have, right? Where it just didn't physically physics wise did not make any sense, like a portal almost, but obviously there was no portal, right? It was just like they were there and then they weren't, right? And it's like, and each one of the situations is like they were trying to get my attention, because obviously you're gonna, like, when you see those couples giggling and like leaving a thing and being embarrassed, you're thinking, your first thought is like, oh, like either you're annoyed because they're doing boyfriend and girlfriend time where they shouldn't be, or you're like my dumbass and being like, I'm so sorry I interrupted your love time. Like, when I'm trying to work out, like, again, my boyfriend's shaking his head, but like, you know what I mean? So you're getting, so you're not really getting the full picture. You're just thinking like, oh, that was weird, or like you're being loud in the theater and so you're annoying me, and like, you know what I mean? So I like hush them, and so you're focusing on that. But in the meantime, it's like they're just disappearing, but you have so much other stimulation of like they were annoying your movie, and or they were doing inappropriate things in the wrong time. So you're thinking about that and you don't really realize, I guess, quote unquote, the magic that just occurred. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, but those were just stuff that I wanted to document. And I had that story I wanted to document for a while. It's just not something I usually gravitate towards in the supernatural world as far as what I've experienced, but I just wanted to share that on some some video of mine before I maybe learn about more stuff. But yeah, you know what's funny? As I was recording this, like when you hit save with an audio, it'll say like, "Oh, you can fade it in and out." That's like literally when I saw those words, like the audio, you can like fade it in and out towards the end or the beginning. That's how I feel like the people faded in and out. Like the people just kind of like faded in and in the workout room, and uh in the movie, or the, sorry again, my brain's, it's um my brain's been a little overwhelmed lately. Let's put it that way. But um um sorry, my boyfriend keeps laughing at me, and I just told him if he's gonna keep laughing, he might as well help me. uh, but or in the movie theater where they just kind of like disappeared. Um, so yeah, and like I said, I'll share the other story for another time. Um, but the other thing I kind of want to discuss again about the universe is kind of backtracking on when I mentioned the fact that the universe can sometimes be, to me, like almost like a business or a school or something, like an institution where there's different departments and people are good at different things, and you get promoted by doing your work and like learning different departments, but like everyone has their own specialty. That's kind of how I look at the universe, and that's how I cope with the universe, right? And the one thing I want to talk about with the universe is that I feel like, especially when I had my influx of paranormal activity, like I mentioned before, like kind of like a crash, like rah, like here you go, here's everything. I kind of learned like a bunch of jobs in a lot of ways, right? And it was almost like I was like introducing it, and they're like, okay, you're gonna go in this department, you're gonna go to this department, you're gonna go to this department, you're gonna do this department, you're gonna do this department. And there were some departments that I really, really, really loved, right? And some departments where I'm like, I hate this crap and I don't understand why y'all like it. And some people like that department, right? And I know it sounds weird if you're not really in tune to the universe, but, or not really, I don't know. I guess everyone sees the universe in their own eyes. This is how I see it. So, but that's how I visualize it. So, and I feel like I've been kind of lately, or as of recently, I'm kind of been getting out. It's been, like I said, I had that crash course, and since then I've been slowly getting out more and more of the stuff I don't really like, and transitioning back into what I prefer to do. But I'm also someone that like puts, I worry about the universe as a whole. I really do. And so I'll put, like, it's hard for me to kind of let go of like trying to help people in ways that I've already done what I could to help with them. And that's not like thing. It's just like you did your job there. Like it's done, right? It's nothing to do with them. It has to do with me, right? And it's also like doing things where it's like, okay, you don't really belong in this part of the universe anymore. And the universe has a very way of kind of like knowing your personality, right? And with my personality, I'm someone that just keeps going and going and going, whether I realize it or not. Like my boyfriend's like that too, probably more so than me. But you know, and sometimes the universe will tire you out, for me anyway. They might do it for different people for different personalities, but if they're like, okay, you need to start transitioning, because it's almost like, how jobs where like you're working in a job and you get promoted in one job, but the department you're currently working in is like, okay, can you help a little bit before we get a new person in here? But your new job is kind of calling you in that same company. So you're kind of like working two departments at once, right? That's the way I look at it. And I think I've been doing that for multiple jobs for a while. And the universe lately is kind of calling me to be like, okay, it's really time to focus on like one or two jobs that you're actually good at and that you're actually useful at and what we need you for, right? And that's where I kind of feel like I'm in my spiritual journey, where it's like I feel like the universe has been kind of using me to be like, do. And now finally there's like, okay, I know we said we were done a while ago, but we needed you for a second, and now we don't need you. It's like the universe will do that back and forth, where it's like okay, it's like I said, look at it as a business, right? Look at it as a department business, where it's like, okay, I know we said we were done, but we need you like for one more week, and then da da da. Well, now, and I feel like that's been going on for quite a while with me, anyway. And now I kind of feel like the universe is kind of really telling me, okay, if you stop, I'll stop. And I think that's kind of where it's like the more inside your universe, like the more willing you're, it's almost like edging each other on, because the universe is ever expanding. And you got to think about that as the company, right? And the CEO is someone that just wants to keep going and going too. But eventually both of y'all are going to have to be like, okay, let's stop and let the other departments do their job, right? And even though that's like sitting on your hands and waiting, this might sound, my boyfriend is like laughing so hard, because it's one of those things where I think some people will listen to this and be like, I get it. And then some people are gonna be like, what is this girl on? But I think I'm gonna put it out there because I'm a nice person. But I think for me anyway, where I'm at in my spiritual journey is I'm putting my hands down. And if since I put my hands down, my quote unquote boss is putting his hands down, and just waiting until I actually get to do what I really like to do. When I started all those like small jobs, like I mentioned earlier, there was parts I really, really liked about the universe, and I haven't been able to do that for a while. And I'm kind of in this place now where I feel like with the universe, it's like, okay, if I just put my hands down and don't go messing around in any other department, then I can just like wait until I get to go do what I want to do, right? And my boyfriend's nodding but laughing at me at the same time. He's making a lot of facial expressions. I told him he needs to come on my channel, but he ran out the door. But yeah, so maybe one day. uh, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at in my spiritual journey, and that's not really for anyone. That's just me documenting it and where I'm at, and trying to, I guess, find my place now that I kind of did all the quote unquote grunt work, I guess is the right word. You know what I mean? Where you kind of like do your part and kind of do the, I don't even want to say internship. I don't know what you want to call it, but like kind of the grunt work. And now I'm just kind of like waiting until I move on to my next mission, which is more like what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, that's how I see how the universe works. And from my experiences, maybe everyone has different perspectives from what they've experienced it, which is fine. I think the universe uses the way you visualize the world, or you visualize the universe to their advantage, you know what I mean, to help explain it to you, whether that's science or math or seeing it as an organization, seeing it as a school, whatever you see it as, the universe will kind of adapt that to you. Just don't take it super literally. But yeah, that kind of like helps me kind of get a better understanding of how it works and where I belong. Because I think that's another problem with the universe. The universe is very big on like, yeah, we're all as a whole, as one collective, and yeah, we're all working for a certain greater good and mission. But it's also like everyone is supposed to do what they're specifically supposed to do, right? So, um, yeah, and I do think with me, it was kind of like maybe a little bit on both ends that wasn't kind of knowing when to like chill, but I also say the universe should have known better. Anyway, that's whatever. Okay. This video is weird, but I might delete it. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to this very weird video. Thank you for watching. Continue to stay tuned into the supernatural and stay curious. Thanks for watching.